Okay. 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 I'm not using a different mic. It's actually why I didn't delay the stream, but I wasn't gonna not stream another week for you guys. But anyone here? Actually, what am I talking about? Let me wait till people show up. The best way to do that is to share the stream. So I should do that now. But hopefully people can hear me while I'm just like randomly rambling about randomness going on in my head. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Adam? How you doing, bud? Yeah, the green beanie is back. We have the air conditioning blasting. So I figured, fuck it, why not wear the beanie today? It's already kind of chilly in here anyway, so screw it. What's going on? How you living? What did you read this week? It was actually a pretty good week for comics. I'm gonna be completely 100% honest. Did I get my dreads figured out? No, that's my loctician's job, and I'm gonna see her later this week. Hopefully, if she texts me back. Ugh. Cool my face down with some yeah, this is soda. It's definitely soda. But yeah. Can you hear me, by the way, Adam? I'm still using the same crappy mic that I busted up a couple of weeks ago, and I've been using for the past couple of years. So just want to make sure people can hear the words coming out of my face. Sorry for being super late, by the way. I came home, I started playing Arkham Knight, and then I was like, wait, it's Wednesday. I'm supposed to be doing something today. But then I was like, oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta take the garbage out, which I did have to take the garbage out. The garbage was pretty gross. But as soon as I went downstairs in my basement, I was like, oh wait, it's like almost 11:30, or not 11:30, 10:30. I should start streaming. So yeah, here I am. Getting all my stuff together to start streaming. The hood hears you. Doing good, King. Hey, King quality. There we go. This is my crown. Yes. Oh, you decided to start separating the art from the artist. Well, don't leave me hanging. I'm curious. Who's got you in an emotional bind over checking out some of their art? There's a lot of people like that, So I have that with a lot of people, not just in comics, but in everything. I don't know. This isn't really an art thing. Like Amber Heard, she's a terrible person. She's still really hot. I don't know what art I'd be talking about, as being good. She's kind of a wooden actress, but she's still pretty to look at, so I'm fine if she's in other movies, just saying. That's my problematic take, I guess. Hot girl is hot, therefore, yeah. It's okay if she's a fucking psycho. Um, which would explain my dating life in college. But Red Flash, and I'm glad with the consistency of reading Spider-Man. Interesting. So you're like really into the Zeb Wells stuff. I read the first like 2 issues. It was just very slow for me. That's kind of a thing I have with like a lot of modern comics. I think after you get kind of like that Bendis era, that like Mark Millar, Ultimates era, comics become like very decompressed because, I mean, a lot of comics that were super decompressed were really good and they like read very cinematically. So, that's just kind of become the style of modern comics. But, it seems like that's what Zeb Wells is going for. This like kind of like drawn out like melodrama. I'll see how it reads in a trade. I'm just kind of through with. I kind of just rage quit Spider-Man, but I have heard Flash is really good, and I'm definitely gonna wait to pick that up in trade since a lot of the issues at my local comic shop are just out of stock. So I gotta wait to trade. Adam says, reading the Zeb Wells run, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm gonna read this and hope it doesn't go like the Berserk anime's ending. Well, I mean, if we're going off that, we've already kind of had a Berserk style storyline in Spider-Man. Hashtag Norman did nothing wrong. Hashtag Gwen liked it. Hashtag cheers to Griffith. In that case, like, what would be like the Spider-Man equivalent of like the King's Egg or the Baylet? Is it like it's like a totem thing? I don't know. I don't know what like the ultimate MacGuffin would be for like a Spider-Man Berserk kind of thing. No. Gwen Stacy is Casca and Peter is Guts. Because Peter has to suffer endlessly, forever. And in a weird way, that makes like Norman Griffith. I mean, it should be. I mean, a more clean cut comparison would be like, making Harry Griffith. But Harry's not really super obsessed with Peter in the same way that Norman is. Just like Griffith is like weirdly psychotically obsessed with Guts. Although it's like a whole power thing for Griffith. At least that's my read on it. Supreme Omega, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? When it comes to superhero comics, do you feel continuity is still important? Because for me, I feel like when new writers build upon what came before, because for me, I like when new writers build upon what came before instead of ignoring or retconning previous stories. It's weird. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Phone doing stuff. Okay. Okay, continuity. So, I think continuity is important. But I don't think the burden of continuity should be thrust upon the writer solely. I think that should be something for the editor to also, you know, bear on their shoulders. Well, I don't know. I think it goes hand in hand. I think if a writer wants to tell a story, acknowledging continuity, it should also be the editor's job to like tell them how their story should or would fit into continuity. I don't know. I'm trying to. It's so weird because I've gone on like both extremes with this kind of question. I've been on the far extreme where it's like, oh, continuity sucks. We don't need continuity anymore. Just throw it away. But I've also been in the camp of people who thinks that continuity is this like precious thing it needs. Sorry. Gross. But yeah, no, continuity needs to be this precious little like, oh, don't destroy my timeline. But I don't know. I think continuity should be adhered to as best as possible without like completely throwing out the stories that kind of laid the foundation for the characters you're building these stories around. But like little stuff here and there, it's fine. You can throw caution to the wind with little stuff. Like for example, I'm going through. Actually, I just got this recently. This Batman in the 50s collection. A lot of really fun stories in here. One of the stories though that kind of tripped me up for a little bit, and made my autism go read, was I think it's like the secret Batarang issue. Oh, I didn't know this was in here. Oh, the Thomas Wayne Batman issues in here. Cool. But fuck, where is it? Anyways, I closed the book as soon as I get to the page, and now I lost it. But yeah, no. So there is a comic issue in here that talks about, you know, Batman's many different Batarangs, and there's a Batarang X. It's a secret Batarang, and then you get into the history of the Batarang and how Batman came up with the Batarang, and apparently in the 50s at least, it was retconned that Batman created the Batarang based off of this like Australian, like, you know, he's a showman, mate. Batman, I'm doing a show in Gotham. I went to like weird Scottish for a second, but like, no, Batmate, I'm doing a Gotham show, so, you know, here's a boomerang shaped like a bat. And Batman's like, yes, I'm going to use this and shape it like a bat, and I'll have Batarangs. That completely contradicts the original story in which the Batarang is introduced, which is one of the early Detective Comics issues, where they also introduced like the Bat Plane, although it's called like the Bat Gyro. I don't know why the plane was called a sandwich, but you know, it's where the Bat Gyro is introduced. It's where the Batarang's introduced. It's a whole thing where Batman has to go and rescue his fiancée, Julie Newmar. Not Julie Newmar, but Julie. Yeah, no, there's no Australian dude in that story. Batman's not like a public figure just hanging around parks and shit. Like, Batman's still a vigilante. He's being hunted by the police. Like, but this 50s comic contradicts that completely. But it's still a fun story. So who cares? Like, stuff like that is kind of fine to futz with in continuity. Where you kind of run into problems is like when the story kind of like asks you to think about continuity, even though it's contradicting continuity. That's when you kind of run into a bit of a problem. But long and short of it, because I think I've been going for like 10 minutes answering a very simple like yes no question. continuity is important, but it's not nearly as important as I think a lot of comic readers like to make it out to be. As long as you're not like, undercutting crucial character moments or characterization for the sake of your story, then it's fine. It's fine. Which I guess is kind of like segues me into like the perfect comic that I think exemplifies my answer to that continuity question, which is Batman 125. I was kind of excited for this, and by kind of I mean super excited. I absolutely love Chip Zdarsky. When I heard Chip Zdarsky was going to do Batman, I was just jizzing from my eyeballs. Just absolutely fantastic. I love his Daredevil run. I thought Peter Parker, this particular Spider-Man, was great. I still think it's the best modern Spider-Man run that we've had. Well, that's not true. I like Nick Spencer's run more than most people. I was super excited when I heard that Chip Zdarsky was taking over Batman. Also, Jorge Jimenez is still working on the book, which thank God, because his art is absolutely fantastic. Like even just like mundane crap like this, where it's just Batman looking at a bunch of monitors. It looks super cool, man. I don't know what to tell you. Jorge Jimenez is an absolute beast. I really like this first issue. Chip Zdarsky has a great voice for Bruce Wayne. I like that his Batman isn't an asshole. That's like a big problem that I've had with like a lot of modern Batman interpretations. Which is bizarre because like Grant Morrison's entire run on Batman is trying to get Bruce away from being kind of that like militant, stick up his ass dickwad who's like Batman, angry. Then we get like Scott Snyder, who kind of brings that back in kind of a weird way, and then we get Tom King, who, it's weird. He doesn't make Batman like a soldier, but he does double down on like that kind of that Jeff Loeb style of approaching Bruce Wayne as a character, where he's very sullen, and I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like he's very like stone face on Batman. Even when he's being like utterly ridiculous, it's like I'm Batman. It was nice to see Chip Zdarsky kind of take Bruce back to just being that like kind of warm, like Cape Crusader-y kind of, he's Batman. I like that Chip Zdarsky writes Bruce Wayne is my Batman. If we're gonna do the whole my Batman kind of thing, like Chip Zdarsky's writing my Batman. So I thought I was really excited for that. I love the interaction between Batman and Robin in this. I haven't really been reading the Batman book since the tail end of Tom King's run. So it was really nice to just read a Batman book where Robin is just front and center, and you see Batman and Robin doing Batman and Robin shit. I thought that was cool. It kind of sucks that Tim gets shot in the throat. I'm sorry, spoilers. Forget that last part. But it was cool seeing Batman and Robin be Batman and Robin in this comic. Everything I've been looking for in a Batman comic is here. But to go back to what I was saying earlier about continuity, I don't want to. Okay, it's hard to talk about what I'm going to talk about without spoiling it. But I did have a thing by the time I got to the end of this issue. Which, by the way, I don't think I talked about the cover. This is by Gabriel Delato. Shout out to my mans, because Delato has just been a favorite of mine since, God, I think, when did Web of Shadows come out? Is that 2008? I've been a super fan of Gabriel Delato since like 2008 or something like that. I really love his covers. Even though they're a bit more expensive, this is like $6.99. So yeah, but no, dude, like really good stuff. So yeah, man. Sorry, I get distracted by like just bomb ass art. What was this? Oh, yes, continuity. So, all right, there kind of is a whole thing with continuity that I have within the context of this issue. So, okay. Apparently, the Penguin is dying. I don't know if that's like a James Tynion thing, or if just, you know, Zdarsky just wanted to open his run like that. But Penguin's dying, and he has this like last ditch hurrah to fuck with Batman. And you know, Batman visits Penguin in the hospital, and Penguin's last big middle finger to Batman is framing him for murder. And Bruce apparently has this whole like fail-safe protocol for just in case he goes off the deep end and kills somebody. And we don't know, like, okay, this is the potential problem I have with it. Batman's been framed for murder before. Like, he has. So there's been imposter Batman running around before. So why the whole fail-safe protocol has never, you know, been mentioned before now is kind of weird. But you could also make the argument that during those stories, Bruce was living in the mansion. He's had access to all of his technology and, you know, everything. But now that he doesn't, the failsafe protocol is still active. I don't know. Maybe it's the first issue. I'm sure it'll be explained later on. That was just a weird continuity thing that my autism just could not properly regulate. But yeah, no, I really dug it. I thought that was a really fun first issue, and I was just glad to get back into Batman, because it's been so long. I thought Joker War was just egregious. And Tom King's Batman Catwoman along with Clayman, I like the beginning of it. It's just so fucking slow. But I have been reading Batman Killing Time. Although I didn't get the issue for this week. Because I missed out on issue 4, and I can't read stuff out of order. I'm weird like that. So yeah, I don't know. Outside of miniseries though, it's been nice to just jump back into Batman. Let me get back to some of the chats though. Okay. Adam says another time with Spider-Man getting berserk levels of dark stuff coming out was I'm gonna read that again. Another time of Spider-Man getting berserk levels of dark stuff. Okay, Adam, I love you, buddy, but commas are a thing. Please. Um, but Anna Senti's run of Spider-Man, where it starts out with Peter in a psychiatric ward fighting Thanos. Interesting. Give me a sauce on that. Salsa. Saucer didn't happen. Don't, don't tickle my pickle like that and just leave me hanging. That sounds pretty dope. I like that idea a lot. But if you do tell me that it's in like, you know, a comic run that's just like not collected, I will find you and I will chain you to a fence near the border of Mexico. And tickle you with like a little jar of acid. Supreme says, if you were the new editor-in-chief of Marvel, what would you do? What would you change or improve? Okay, that's a great question. First of all, I would relinquish my role of editor-in-chief and bring in Jim Shooter. No, I'm kidding. You know what? I like the Jim Shooter era of Marvel. I don't think Jim Shooter would work within a contemporary comic setting. Only because I think Jim Shooter was the perfect guy for comics in the 80s. I'm not sure how well he would adapt to the contemporary comics landscape and style that was pioneered by the fuck. He just left. What's his name? Joe Quesadilla Face. Yeah. So say what you will about Joe Queso. He revolutionized the comics game. He did. You know, the reason why comics have this like cinematic flair now, that's Joe. You know, he brought in dudes like Bendis with a cinematic storytelling style, and he brought in dudes like Mark Millar and said, hey, make a movie but in comic form. That's how we get Brian Hitch cranking out like Ultimates and stuff like that. That's how we get Bendis' run on Daredevil, you know? But I don't know. To be fair, I have not seen Jim Shooter's current work. I don't know what he's been doing for the past like 30 odd years. So for all I know, he could do a great job working at Marvel and running that ship. But if it was me running the ship, what would I do? If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I would make any changes that people would like generally. I would not make a lot of commercial decisions. I would make a lot of decisions based on what I think would benefit characters and story. That would include getting rid of some characters. That would include putting certain characters in positions that would force them to relinquish their titles as like heroes. Like, okay, why the fuck do we need two Captain Americas? No, Steve, you become the leader of whatever the hell S.H.I.E.L.D. is currently. Just like in the heroic age. Why the hell do we need two Wolverines? Logan, you hate the Wolverine moniker. That was thrust upon you as you were like a living weapon for like all these like, you know, government agencies and corporations. How about you just stop being Wolverine? Just be Logan and just do the Logan thing. While X-23, who hates her assigned name, because it's the same deal for her, just have her be the new Wolverine. You know, I would also, it's too many fucking spider people. There's too many spider people. Miles, if we want to keep Miles in the 616, because my immediate thought would just be to throw him back in the Ultimate Universe. But okay, if we want to keep Miles in the 616. You, since we don't know how old you are, I'm just gonna say you're 18, and you get to go to college in Chicago. Go to Chicago. Go be the Spider-Man of Chicago. be the multiversal Spider-Man in Chicago, because that's the only story we can tell with Miles Morales. Multiverse stories. Spider-Man's a street level character, but whatever. But yeah, I would put Miles somewhere else, namely Chicago. I don't know what the hell Anya's doing, but I would do something with Anya because I think she's a pretty interesting character. Probably same deal. I'd probably throw her like in another state somewhere, or have her work for Shield as like the new Spider Girl or something, or be a part of the Champions. Spider Woman, classic Avengers character. She's on the Avengers, and she's not really connected with the. She's not connected with Spider-Man or Peter Parker, so whatever. Also, to that point, Peter Parker, and this is where I'm sure I would lose people. What I would do with Peter is I would grow him up. There's a line, I think it's Nietzsche, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna look this up, but it's in a Bob Dylan song. It's a line talking about like the spider as a concept being revenge. Granted, that passage is talking about Black Widow, so maybe it's a more fitting thing for Black Widow. But hold on a second. Where does this come from? Fuck, dude. It's the tarantula, I think. Okay, Beware the Poison of the Tarantula is the name of the poem. And it's deleted here. Okay, that sucks. Well, where else is it? Okay, let's try Wikipedia. This is a video topic. I swear I could do a whole video topic on this. We just need to like do more research on it. But damn, and I had it like queued up like last week. Anyways, okay, but there's a whole passage about the spider, if you will. I think it might be from Nietzsche actually. How the spider is attached to the back of a person, and it acts as symbol of revenge, and I think that's very striking to me personally as a Spider-Man fan, because Peter does literally have a spider on his back, and the Spider-Man costume, Spider-Man is an institution, Spider-Man is an idea, for Peter represents revenge. It does. Like, why does Peter become Spider-Man in the first place? He's a 15-year-old. He's a social outcast. He puts on that Spider-Man costume and he's getting back at the world. He's taking his revenge on society. And, even after he learns his lesson in power and responsibility, becomes a superhero, it's still him lashing out at the world for being the way it is. And I feel like by the time you kind of hit adulthood, a lot of those feelings kind of go away as you kind of, accept and forgive the world for being the way it is, and just kind of do your best to build something in spite of that. Yeah, that's kind of what I would do with Spider-Man. I would just kind of have Peter leave Spider-Man behind. I would have Pete settle down, get married. Maybe not even to MJ. I'd probably like pull out someone random like Deb Whitman or someone like that. Quite frankly, Pete gets married, has like a kid or something, or maybe a couple kids. I don't know, whatever. He's working as like a professor at ESU or Columbia or something like that. And you have some new kid. You introduce a new character, and you have them step into the role of Spider-Man. That's what I would do with the character of Spider-Man. And I would have Peter Parker fill out this kind of like Jay Garrick style role, as he's he's giving up Spider-Man. He's handing the reins off to somebody else. So yeah, that's what I would do with the character like Spider-Man. I think that's where people would be like, "Stop it! How dare you!" But I would win them back by putting the Avengers back in Avengers Mansion. I would make that a big editorial mandate. Nope, make the Avengers again. Enough with this like discount Justice League crap that we've been saddled with since Mighty Avengers. We're just not doing that anymore. But I would make a lot of changes at Marvel. Some changes I think people would like. Some changes I think people would stone me on Twitter for, as if I were Satan's balls. Adam says, after reading the new Flash run, it hit me that Wally has the most consistent ongoing storyline and arc since the 80s, and I heavily respect that writers maintain that, except Tom King in Heroes in Crisis. Fair enough. But Wally West is one of those characters where we often talk about in comics how these characters are like 90 years old, 80 years old, whatever. How could it possibly be easy to follow any of these characters? Well, some of them are pretty easy to follow. Wally West is a character that is pretty easy to follow. I think you can read some of the like Silver Age Flash comics where Wally West shows up as a sidekick. You can read some of the Teen Titans stuff. I see why there's a heavy bias towards the George Perez and Marv Wolfman Teen Titans series after reading some of the Teen Titans from the Bronze Age. But you can still follow a lot of Wally's character through the 60s, 70s, into the 80s with the new Teen Titans. And then you can just jump right on board when you get to the post-crisis material when Wally becomes the new Flash. And then you can just read that into like Mark Waid's run, which I think starts at like issue like 50, 60 something. And then you can like read like the Grant Morrison stuff and like some of the Mark Millar stuff. And then you jump into like the Jeff Johns material, and then Infinite Crisis happens. And then Wally dies. We get sucked into the Speed Force with his family, but then they come back. And then you get the new Flash run, which is Mark Waid's second venture into the Flash. And then Jeff Johns comes back and runs everything. But yeah, no, Wally's a pretty easy character to follow. It's very much in the same vein as like Daredevil. Daredevil's also one of those characters that's pretty easy to follow. I would also say the Fantastic Four are pretty easy to follow, ironically enough. They're like billed as the first family of Marvel, and they are pretty important to the landscape of Marvel Comics, but I mean they only have like one book. Yeah, it's pretty easy to follow the Fantastic Four. I don't know why I haven't taken the plunge into just reading all of the Fantastic Four. I easily could. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Adam. Wally West is pretty. He is like one of the most consistent characters in terms of like ongoing storytelling in comics, or mainstream superhero comics at least. Another example of frustrating continuity where they make you think was this Catwoman comic where she recounts how she met all the Robins when they just started. It made me try to think how old Batman is. Don't think about it, but if you are gonna think about it, just vaguely 45, maybe, kind of. Yeah, maybe 50. I don't know. There's some pretty like athletic 50-year-olds out there. Just saying. But yeah, 45. I just kind of go like that in my head. Like that Ben Affleck, like Batfleck, kind of era. But yeah, DC kind of does some weird stuff with like Batman's continuity, where like I remember reading Scott Snyder's Death of the Family, and there's a whole thing where Joker's going on about how Batman's supposed to be this ultimate loner and blah blah blah, and it's like, Robin's in the first appearance of Joker. That's Batman #1. So spring 1940. On the cover you got the Joker in the background. You got Batman swinging, and who's right above Batman? Oh, it's the Boy Wonder. It's Robin. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Also, Robin's the reason why Joker like accidentally stabbed himself in that first issue. So I don't know. It's always weird when writers just kind of conveniently forget that like Robin has been there for like most of Batman's career and was like already an established character before any of the other villains showed up. Well, okay, maybe with the exception of Hugo Strange. I think Hugo Strange predates Robin by like a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's okay. I feel you. That's an issue when continuity becomes like a stick in your ass. But yeah. Supreme Omega says, question: since you've been watching The Sopranos, what are your thoughts on it so far? So far so good. I didn't watch The Sopranos for the longest time because, quite frankly, I'm one of those people where the more people hype something up to me, the less interested I am in watching it because I feel like it's just going to not live up to the hype. But The Sopranos does live up to the hype. It's a really good show. And I think there's a movie too, like the Many Saints of Newark. I'm excited to check that out. Yeah, I'm loving the show so far. Especially how they get into like all the stuff with like the families and how it really demystifies like organized crime. How like we think of organized crime as like we think of it as like a fucking like the kingpin, and he's sitting around a table with like all the major crime families and the Maggia, and you got the head bosses and the capos all standing next to each other and all that shit. It's the scene from Batman '89, where Jack Nicholson's at the head of the table, and you have all the old mafioso dudes smoking their stogies, and they got the pinstripe suits and all that shit. Nah, so like that's how you think of organized crime popularly, right? The Sopranos says, no, not really. Instead of it all being like it's flashy and it's exceptional and amazing and fabulous like it is in like The Godfather or something, it's just a bunch of dudes hanging around like a pizza shop talking about how they're gonna hey, this guy, he's your cousin, but he didn't give me the comps on those on those cigarettes that fell off the truck, so whack them. It's like just I don't know, they're all just wearing street clothes, and I don't know, it's very interesting. I'm really into The Sopranos. I like it a lot. Definitely something that's up my alley, and I don't know why I waited so long to check it out. But yeah, no, I really dug it. Or am digging it. I'll say. Adam Cano says, I think Chip Zdarsky writing Tim, Jason, or a Nightwing solo run would be incredible. I have not read enough of Chip's DC stuff to know how he would write any of the other, Legacy Robins. But I would love to see all those characters show up in his Batman run. Supreme says, on Marvel, it's sad that a lot of these teen heroes and teams are not allowed to grow up. Whether it's the Young Avengers, the Runaways, Miles, Kamala, Sam, Alexander, etc., etc. Yeah, but that's like a greater problem with just like comic books. Or that's a greater problem with Marvel and DC. A lot of these characters will grow up, and then a lot of these characters will have their ages regressed. I was talking to a buddy of mine, who I'm probably going to have on the channel at some point, but he does not read DC at all. Just because he's gotten extremely tired with characters aging and progressing, and then boop, reboot time. Oh, were you like 25? Actually, you're 14 now. People hated the reboot idea, so let's do like a soft relaunch where we're gonna put you back in the status quo that you were at originally when you were 25, but you're like 17 now. Is that better? Doesn't quite make sense, does it? And it's very frustrating. And that's why my buddy just does not read DC Comics anymore. And I get it. I get it. I completely understand. The Marvel has it a lot too. If you read, what's his face? Straczynski's run on The Amazing Spider-Man. Peter Parker he's like in his 30s in that. He feels like he's in his 30s, but One More Day onward, Peter distinctly feels like a far dumber version of himself from when he was in his mid to early 20s in like 1984 or 94, like 1981, like pre-Venom. Like what's happening? And the Runaways have that too. No, I take that back. I haven't read the Rainbow Rowell Runaways run, but apparently Rainbow, does a lot of legwork in trying to age those characters up and actually have them be like young adults, which makes the Spider-Man thing all the more confusing and egregious. But that's just the whole thing with American superhero comics. Characters not aging really. Tevia says hello. Hello, Tevia. What's going on, bud? How you living? I'm sure you typed that like an hour ago or something. I just can't stop running my fucking mouth. Any opinion on the Battle of the Super Sons trailer? I thought it was really awesome. I think it's awesome too. I am super excited for Battle of the Super Sons because it is the last time we're ever going to see the Super Sons in anything. Because I'm pretty sure Young Justice got canceled, so we're probably just not going to see the Super Sons in that. Which is a real shame because I think the Young Justice crew handled a lot of the legacy of the Bat family and the Superman family respectively way better than the comics did. I'm just gotta be completely honest there. It becomes an issue where just like, and this is where I kind of get off on saying that Rebirth was like a very half-assed, like, milk bone thrown to comics fans, where a lot of the world building around Rebirth, it just, I don't know, like, Death of Superman happened, but Connor doesn't exist. What? And now that Connor doesn't exist, John was the only Superboy to ever exist in the new universe. Until he's not, because Bendis brings Connor back into the main universe. So just John and Connor never had a relationship. It's so bizarre, you know. It's just, I don't know. And all the stuff with Damian, I feel was handled very poorly. It's because as much as I love Grant Morrison's run on Batman, one of the big problems that I have with it is how shafted Tim is. You know, like, Damian shows up, he's kind of a nuisance for a couple of issues, then he dies. But then you find that he didn't die, he comes back, and you know, Bruce gets transported through time, the Final Crisis, Dick becomes the new Batman, Tim just fucks off, becomes Red Robin, terrible name, should have been Cardinal, or Red Wing, or Red Hawk, or Hawk, or, oh no, Hawk's already taken, but you know, anything, Red Robin, still boggles my mind, but no, like, Tim goes off, becomes his own superhero, and then Damian becomes Robin. And then Damian's Robin throughout the reboot, where we just kind of have Tim secluded to that really terrible Teen Titans run. And then Tim just doesn't do anything for a long ass time. It's kind of sad. Like, Tim just didn't really get the proper time he needed to grow. I don't know, I could totally see Young Justice doing something really well with, you know, integrating Damian into the Bat family without shafting Tim Drake. But it is what it is, man. I guess Young Justice is gone again. Which leaves Battle of the Super Sons being the only place we're ever going to see the Super Sons again. So, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Supreme says, on Miss Marvel, I would like a new writer to allow Kamala to grow up and enter her college years. I would love to see Kamala, Nakia, and Zoe get into freshman year hijinks. I can see that too. You know what I could also see? I could see Kamala going off to college and not interacting with her original high school friends. I could see that too. Because that happens a lot. You know, Kamala's in a new environment. What college would Kamala go to? I'm curious. Would she be an ESU girl? Would she be like a Columbia girl? Is Loyola in New York? I think there's a Loyola branch in New York. I don't know. Just what college do you think Kamala would go to? Or would she like go to a college in New Jersey? What colleges are in New Jersey? I don't know. New Jersey colleges. You know what? I could totally see Kamala going to the New Jersey Institute of Technology, because she's really into like tinkering and stuff like that. Um, that'd be interesting. I could see that, and I'd be curious to see like how that works out with her relationship with Bruno. Because I think Bruno would definitely study abroad in like Wakanda or someplace like that. But I think a lot of these teen characters, it's their time to grow up. But that's kind of hard to do when a lot of the characters who are their predecessors aren't growing up. Weird. I want Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel to move forward. I do too. I want that for all the characters in Marvel's Legacy. Basically, the run starts out where Peter is actually checked in as a mental patient in a psychiatric ward and is reevaluating his life. And later in that run, Peter actually dies and meets Thanos again. Oh wait, hold on. I think I've read that issue where Peter fights Thanos. That's like all in his head, right? No, maybe I'm thinking of something different. That's a '90s issue, right? That's like a '90s comic issue. I'm fairly certain. If so, I think I've definitely read that. Any opinion on current DC Comics and of your if you're editor in chief, what would you change, and any? And why? If I was editor of DC Comics, I would change a lot. Quite frankly. First of all, I would kill John Kent. I would have Connor be the new gay Superboy. Because let's face it, Connor works way better as the gay Superboy. We're just calling it like it is. He does. He works way better. I would also put the genie back in the bottle with Superman's identity, because I think having Clark with a public identity defeats the purpose of Superman being the human. Superman's human, he's one of us, he's having him live in a giant ice castle protecting Earth as humanity's stalwart knight. You're missing the point of Superman, bro. What editor allowed that to happen? I'd put that genie back in the bottle. I would kill off John Kent. I would have Connor be the new gay Superboy. I would also kill off Damian. Either that, or I'd have Damian adopt a completely new identity and just go off and be rogue somewhere. Not rogue as in touching people and giving them AIDS, but just the whole thing of going off and being a completely different character. I would do that. But what else would I would do? I would limit the number of books that we would have. Ain't no fucking way anyone's reading close to 80 comics. That's insanity. Why are we printing that many comics? Not all of these stories need to be told. Why do we have 2 Batman Beyond titles running currently? What's up with that? Just simple stuff. I'll change a lot about DC Comics, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah. A lot of it would just be technical and a lot of it wouldn't even really be storytelling stuff. It would just be don't print 2 of the same fucking thing on the same week. What are you doing? It's so dumb. Sometimes I feel like the leaders at DC Comics are just asleep at the wheel, and they need to be just just slap them awake sometimes. Like, hey, wake up! You're still steering the ship, asshole. Yeah, those are the changes I would make. Supreme says, on Miles, do you feel he needs really good stories again? Again. That's cute. Because in my view, Miles needs Roger Stern or Jane DeMatteis levels of high quality in future runs. I think Miles needs to establish a characterization first of all. Because what is Miles' personality? Just asking. What is Miles' personality? Because here's the thing. I know people like to talk about archetypes as like kind of like a negative thing because, you know, when something is archetypal, you're focusing on the category of you're focusing like on the categorized, like where they fit in, like, you know, a narrative category. But archetypes are very kind of crucial, you know. They kind of get to they give you like this kind of like canvas almost, and you can like color something in the canvas. Miles doesn't really fit a particular archetype. Peter fits an archetype, you know. He is the nerd. You know, who else fits an archetype? I'm looking at my bookshelf. Iron Man fits an archetype. He's the arrogant fool. Captain America fits an archetype. Steve Rogers is he's the hero. You know, the traditional, the hero. You know, what archetype does Miles fit into? And what archetypes do his supporting cast fit into? You know, that's kind of the problem Miles runs into. Like, Miles needs a set characterization. Because without it, you get all the crap they're doing with What If, where you... It's hammer time! Asgard has graffiti by Odin's fade. Let me toss your shoes on the telephone wires and listen to me rhyme all night and all day. That's what you run into when Miles doesn't have a personality. You get weird bullshit like that. But yes, I did read the final issue of of What If Miles Morales against my better judgment. Supreme says also on Bruno, if he's not killed off, Jesus, dude, what is with you and Bruno, man? I'm serious. Why do you hate Bruno so much? Like, every week you're talking about how you'd kill him off. What the hell? Perhaps going back to Wakanda? I don't like that white boy. Throw him in Africa. That's that's kind of funny, dude. Why do you hate Bruno? He's a pretty cool... Yeah, I like Bruno. He's a good character. Why you keep trying to get rid of Bruno? Because in my view, it would make sense for Bruno to move far away from Jersey City to establish his own identity. I can see that. I can see that. Toby says, I mess sleep night, man. Oh. Maybe that means you going to sleep. Alright, good night, Tevia. See you, bro. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we can talk about the other comic that I got this week. This is the comic that I was, like, the most anticipated for. And it's Starhinge by Liam Sharp. Now, for those of you who don't know who Liam Sharp is, Liam Sharp is... actually, Liam Sharp's a veteran comic book artist. He's been working in the industry for about like 30 or so years. He has. I'm not sure how long his run on the Hulk is, but he has done a lot of Hulk material. Apparently, I haven't read all that stuff. But he's also with some stuff that like a lot of modern readers would know. Oh, he did Green Lantern with Grant Morrison a couple years back. He also did that Brave and the Bold miniseries with Batman and Wonder Woman. Liam Sharp's a great artist. I love his work. I'm absolutely in love with Liam Sharp's style. And when I heard that Liam Sharp was doing his own creator-owned series, well, my cock jumped into my heart and started beating jizz all over the place. And yeah, I'm the living embodiment of excitement. I can't even believe I'm holding it in my hands right now. Like I feel like I've been staring at this cover for like a whole last year, because I follow Liam Sharp on Instagram and Twitter. So just like him being super excited about this, I guess kind of rubbed off on me. And the best way I can kind of like describe this is that this comic is King Arthur in space, which I think is actually how Liam Sharp would describe it, because there's a lot of like Arthurian legend kind of material here, but it's mixed in with a lot of like weird out there like heavy sci-fi stuff. Like, just look at this, dude! Holy shit! And this is all Liam Sharp. This is all Liam Sharp. Doing the writing, the inking, the coloring, the pencils, everything. This is all Liam Sharp. I think. Let me check. Written, illustrated, and lettered by Liam Sharp. Yeah. Okay. The credits here say additional art by Matilda McCormick Sharp. I don't know who that is. I think it might be like his, maybe like his daughter or something. I don't know. Or wife or something. I don't know. Font by Dave Gibbons. Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice. Dave Gibbons did the lettering. It's pretty sweet. I didn't know Dave Gibbons was a letterer. But yeah, a lot of this is like really cool. Really trippy stuff. I thank you, Light, for doing that as soon as I'm showing off the artwork. Way to go. But yeah, no. I'm not a big like Arthurian legend kind of guy, if I'm gonna be completely honest, but reading this made me want to learn more about the legend of King Arthur, because this is really cool. It's taking a lot of those characters and concepts from the legend of King Arthur, and it's doing this kind of like grand sci-fi epic. I don't know. It's just really kind of like fascinating and cool. I will say one thing that kind of, if there was something to put me off, it would be some of the narration. I think that the title character, or not title character, I think that the main character we kind of like follow, or like the main like man character that we follow, and that's all I'm gonna give you, because I want you to read this, is narrating this like these narration boxes right here. And I'm gonna be honest, sometimes it gets a little too cutesy. for my taste. I think it kind of undercuts some of the epicness that you kind of have presented here. And thankfully, it's not the thing that you see in a lot of like movies and TV shows centered around science fiction, where you have the material almost like apologizing for making you as the audience put up with this silly sci-fi crap. Like, oh, phasers, that's a silly name. Who came up with the name phase? Like, we don't do that in this at all. But there is stuff here and there, like, you know, he's talking about this AI system, this malevolent AI, that you know, okay, I'll just say it. They build these really creepy robots, you know, horrible nightmare imitations of humans. Imagine if Tim Burton directed Terminator. Since it seems pretty clear to them that the thing we fear the most is ourselves. Sick, right? Shudder. Okay, doing one of those, you know, little parentheses, asides, you know, that's cool. Doing two of them in a row, bro, stop. You're getting kind of annoying, man. You're kind of undercutting this like really cool story that I'm like, you know, engrossed in. Some of this is also really interesting too. The art is beautiful in this. But yeah, no, man, like it's really good. If you can get past some of the like the really cutesy stuff, where it feels like Liam Sharp is like, oh no, I'm gonna lose them by being too serious here. Throw in a joke. I'm sure Liam Sharp's not gonna watch this, but if you are, for anyone who is like really interested in writing or like trying to write, you don't have to apologize for yourself or like try to like, you know, ease up on the on like tense moments by throwing in humor all the time. It's kind of distracting, and that's honestly what holds this great first issue back from being a perfect 10 out of 10. But yeah, no, outside of that, the art is gorgeous. Like, first page sucks you in like Lana Rhoades, man. Like, Jesus Christ, it's breathtaking. And then it's just like 4 more pages of actually 6 more pages of just brilliant, breathtaking, beautiful art. No dialogue, you know. I don't think it's needed. And I know some people like to argue that, you know, the thing that makes comics work is having a collaboration between an artist and a writer. But I disagree with that fundamentally. Mainly because I read manga. But, you know, I don't know. I think, at least as far as American comics are concerned, or not American comics, Western comics are concerned, although I think Liam Sharp is an American. So, you know, congratulations to you, sir. Fuck, where was I going with that? Oh, right. I think this is a comic that would like easily, kind of prove that theory wrong, or that train of thought wrong, that you need an artist and a writer collaborating on a comic book together. And dude, you know what? For some of the complaints that I have with the issue and like some of the humor and all that, still, I'm super pumped for Starhinge issue number 2, because this just it lived up to everything that I was expecting it to be. And yeah, man, it's fucking cool, man. Can't wait for more. Any opinion on Harley Quinn season 3? I'm glad that we're getting it. I think it's. I thought it was really funny when like a bunch of like Zack Snyder fanboys like freaked the fuck out over it. Like, James Gunn is in it, and yeah, it's like, fuck off, dude. Just this is why people make fun of us, you know. This is why we can't have nice things, because Zack Snyder fans who just can't chill the fuck out for like 5 seconds. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I'm excited for season 3. I still think the Harley Quinn show is, the people behind that show are utilizing Harley Quinn better than anyone has in the comics for the past 10 or so years. I honestly think that's what Harley Quinn should be, instead of throwing her on the fucking Justice League. I got a video about that coming out soon, so I'm not gonna go too deep, but that's what she said. Oh wait, I just realized what came out of my mouth. But yeah, no, I think the Harley Quinn show is doing a really good job of utilizing that character in a way that exemplifies all of her strengths. Harley, once she's divorced from the Joker, would of course try to be her own, you know, master. You know, of course she would try to be, you know, the head of the Gotham underworld, or at least her corner of it, in the same vein as Riddler or Two-Face or, you know, Tweedledee and Tweedledum and all these other guys. Instead of reforming and being a superhero. That shit just blows my mind, man. That's stupid and terrible. But the Harley Quinn show does a great job of actually pushing that character forward in a way that I think honestly makes the most sense. And it's really fun. So yeah, I'm really liking Harley Quinn season 3. Based off just concept alone. I do think the show does kind of add to the whole Poison Ivy's not bad. She's just an eco-terrorist trying to help people and do the right thing. Even though Poison Ivy in comics is a psychopath who has delusions of being the personification of Mother Nature and would much rather see the bulk of humanity used as fertilizer for her plants. But no, Ivy good now, I guess. Sure. Supreme. Any other another teen hero question on Sam Alexander, aka Nova. Do you feel he should join up with Dick Ryder and become a major player in Marvel Cosmic once he grows up? Yeah, I do. I don't have like an elaborate answer for that. I do. I agree. I think that's what should happen. Tevi says, I am going to bed. Good night, man. Okay. Well, you have another question here, so, you know, I guess. Or I guess you made a comment here. Personally, I am super excited for the Battle of the Super Sons and hopefully Young Justice Season 5. We shall see. We shall see. I hope we get Young Justice Season 5 too. I was really hyped for that Supergirl reveal. It would be a goddamn shame if they just kind of let that just linger for another 5 years. Like we lingered after season 2. That would really suck. Supreme Omega says, I don't really hate Bruno. I swear, I just wish she had more chemistry and interaction with the rest of her friend group, especially Nakia and Zoe. Well, I always kind of read that as like intentional. You know, like Bruno never really fit in with the rest of Kamala's friends. Um, because for the longest time, Bruno was Kamala's only friend. Um, but I don't know. I always read that as being intentional, but I, I'm scooping what you're pooping. You know, I'm picking up what you're putting down. You know, I'm swagging with your schmegging. You know, it's all good. Um, and yeah, what else did I read this week? Well, not read, but what else did I pick up this week? This bad boy. I finally got my hands on Superman of the Golden Age Volume 4. I can't wait to go through this because I have volumes 1, 2, 3, and 5 on my bookshelf. And I love Golden Age Superman a lot. First of all, these covers by Doc Shaner are fucking perfect. I would love to see Doc Shaner do a throwback Golden Age inspired Superman comic. I think that'd be amazing. It's like right up his alley. But yeah, no, I love a lot of these Golden Age Superman stories. In fact, Golden Age Superman is kind of my favorite Superman. Because there are very few characters who I think show up in comics and everything is just there. You know, like they just live up to the concept, and it's perfect. I think Golden Age Superman is fantastic. You know, he's a hero of the people. He's a blue collar, you know, hometown hero, or not really hometown hero because he's not from Metropolis, but you know, he's a hero of the working class, and you know, I appreciate a lot of that in the character, and it's why I have such a hard time reading Silver Age Superman comics. I'm just gonna be completely honest, because a lot of this is so good, and they're just dealing with like real problems, like advertisers like using Superman's image without his approval, and you know, dealing with it's problems of the military-industrial complex, dealing with the prison system and the prison pipeline and the prison-industrial complex, and slave labor within prisons, also slave labor in factories, who are like trying to find like loopholes in the law. No, I think Golden Age Superman's great, and I don't know, just when you're reading Silver Age Superman, or at the very least when I'm reading Silver Age Superman, it feels like watching a TV show that's been on for way too long and is kind of devolved into a parody of itself. You know, no longer is Superman like, you know, dealing with, you know, working class crimes or crimes against the working class. It's no longer about, you know, dealing with real life threats to society. Now it's, well, Jimmy, if I don't have my cape ironed, I'm just not gonna save the world today. And this is how the planet Earth of Earth 69420 was destroyed. I don't know. I feel like a lot of that stuff is just kind of really goofy. It's goofy. Which would be fine, but that's just not how Superman started out. Superman was a real kind of like character when he started out, and then you just run into like this just fucking mess of just like silly, like self-referential just bullshit. Not that there's nothing good about the Silver Age. A lot of my favorite characters come from the Silver Age of comics in Superman lore. Brainiac, for one. You also get Ma and Pa Kent as they're like popularly known. We see them raise Clark. Granted, that's like a lot of the Superboy stuff, which I'm also not a fan of. But you know, it's I don't know. Silver Age is a home to a lot of key Superman fixtures, like the Fortress of Solitude and the Phantom Zone and all of the lore surrounding Krypton. A lot of that comes from the Silver Age. So I'm not saying nothing good came of the Silver Age. I just think that we kind of start to lose the plot of what makes Superman by the time he gets to the Silver Age. And I don't know. Reading a lot of Golden Age Superman just kind of reaffirms that for me. I'll put this over here. Jesus, Tevye, you're still here, man. Tevye says, before I go to bed, one more thing. I'm just wondering if Battle of the Super Sons animated movie success will force DC to de-age my boy Jonathan Samuel Kent back to normal. I can answer that. No, it won't. That won't happen. I'm sorry, buddy. But I hope you have sweet dreams, man. You know, good night, bro. Always kiss your homies goodnight. You know, that's the proper thing to do. Everyone tell Tevye goodnight. Do it. Hi, Tevye. Unless you're sticking around, you know, which is also cool, you know. Supreme says, thoughts on the no-killing rule with superheroes, or do you feel it's a narrative hindrance? I think you can do a lot of interesting stuff with the no-kill rule. I just think that it needs to be thought out a little more in terms of narrative. And if you're gonna do the no-kill rule, at least do something interesting with it. Don't just do the same old like. I will dream about killing, because this is where you kind of make superheroes come off like the sociopaths that they realistically probably would be and are. Where they go on these like massive diatribes about like, no, see, I fantasize about ripping your skeleton through your urethra and then playing jump rope with your ligaments, but I don't do that because I am a good person and I am the hero of the story, and I am not like you who has nothing but blackness in your heart. I was like, okay, well, nice speech and all, but you kind of sound like a fucking sociopath. You kind of sound like you don't have all your marbles right, man. That's what you fucking sound like, dude. And yeah, man, just I don't know, just it'd be nice if we just offered, if we offered a little more context behind why some of these characters refuse to kill, or if we just maybe lessen the threat a little bit from some of the villains, so it doesn't make the heroes come off as being like wholly irresponsible for the problems that ultimately wind up being in like a teleological sense. Wait, I think it's a teleological sense, where it's less about the action itself and more about the consequences of the action. I think that's teleological. But you know, when we stop making villains like psycho mass murderers, you make the heroes seem less indirectly responsible for the deaths of like innocent people. I don't know. Just why does the Joker need to be like a serial killing, mass murdering rapist? Like why? Why do we do that with the Joker? Um, like it's cool having the Joker be like a violent monster and like a narcissistic gangster with like a clown motif, but when you got him like running around killing babies and shit like that, like, man, I don't know, dude. That's when you kind of start looking at Batman like, no, this is your responsibility. You should kill the Joker. In fact, you are a worse person for not killing the Joker. So I don't know. But I guess in the case of Batman, something that I always thought would be fascinating to explore with the no kill rule is the idea that, assuming we're roping everything back into canon, wouldn't it be fascinating to explain Batman's aversion to killing through the idea that it's not that Bruce has never taken a life and that he's afraid of it. It's that Bruce did take lives. In fact, he wiped out entire crime families in like the first year of operation. And then you start playing with Golden Age Batman and how he was basically just like John Wick in a bat costume. And then he eases up once he meets Robin, the Boy Wonder. And then he starts changing his costume and he stops running around with a gun, and that's when you get all the bat gadgets. You get all the cool shit that you think of when you think of Batman. The vibrant blue costume, and my utility belt has 8 million different batarangs, and oh, Robin, we have to go to the Batcave, and oh, we have to drive the Batmobile. All that kind of stuff. Bruce kind of like changes himself to be more of a stalwart classic superhero so that he can set a proper example for this child that he's raised, and hopefully doesn't turn out to be like him when he grows up. I don't know, I always thought that would be a fascinating explanation for why Bruce doesn't kill. He did kill at first, but then Robin came into his life and softened him up a lot, and forced Bruce to just completely change the way he operates as Batman. I don't know. I think that's interesting. Or even like with a character like Superman. I think it would be interesting to explore Superman's aversion to killing. Because I never really liked the whole idea of Superman having like a strict no-kill rule. The reason Bruce does it, it's very personal and like tied to like his trauma and the way he like views death, and also in the way in which he like kind of, if we're going off my headcanon version of it, is like trying to set an example for Robin. But with Superman, like Clark Kent grew up on a farm. Clark Kent had 2 loving parents. He had a pretty relatively normal upbringing. He'd probably have a pretty rational concept of mortality. So I don't know. I always feel like Superman wouldn't really have a no-kill rule. The same way that Batman has a no-kill rule, because Clark is like a regular person for the most part. Like a pretty regular, well-adjusted human being. Yeah, I don't know. I also that also gets the whole thing where I don't think every character needs a no-kill rule, but I understand why it's there for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. Those are all the comments I read this week, and yeah. I think this is a pretty good place to call it one. So yeah, guys. Thanks for watching the stream. Thanks for coming by. It's always a pleasure. And thanks for watching my like stupid ass like Batman edit. With the whole like jiggle jiggle fold song in the background. Thanks for watching that. That was really fun to make, and I'm glad y'all liked it. Yep. Let's see, what else am I working on? Hopefully like either this week or next week, look out for a video that I'm working on, where I talk about villains, because that's been on my mind lately. So I'm doing a whole video on that. I also might talk about that Batman '89 comic. I'll see if like my comic shop has like all the issues in it by next week. But I'm gonna try to like read that whole Sam Hamm, Joe Quinones Batman '89 comic. Because I heard it was pretty good. I liked the first couple of issues. It's weird reading that comic because aesthetically it is straight up the Burton Batman universe, but in terms of like characterization and tone, it is not Burton's Batman. It is basically just 90s comic Batman, or like 80s comic Batman for that matter. So it's very bizarre. But yeah, I might do a review on that. I've also just been like a big Batman mood lately. But yeah, guys, that is it for the stream. Thanks for showing up. I love y'all, and yeah, as always, until next time. Adios, nacho. Wait, how do you do the anime girl thing? It's like the adios, not fuck. My wink is weird. That was cringy. All right, fuck it. Bye, guys. Good night.